His longtime school bus driver for the Greenville Public School District, who is dedicated to improving the neighborhood. We have Mr. Jack Gannon, also running for Ward 6. Sorry. Next, we have Mr. Henry Jackson.
Jackson.
And a longtime resident who aims to use his experience and passion to uplift Ward 6. Next, we have Mr. Isaac Morris, who brings 28 years of experience in city government, 17 years in the private sector, and he's running to help restore Greenville to its former greatness. Next, my left, your right, we have Mrs. Sarah Osborne, a 13-year Ward 6 resident, a CEO of the Delta Logic Group, managing a $6 million budget, who employs 300 people. She has been recognized as the 2023 Businesswoman of the Year and the 2024 Top 40 Under 40 in Mississippi. Next, we have Ms. Tasha Parker. She has served and advocated for Ward 6 in the Mississippi Delta for over 20 years and wants to continue to representing people. Next, we have Ms. LaJayla Robinson, who sends her apologies. She had a prior engagement, so she's not able to join us on this evening. And last but not least, we have Mr. Chauncey Wright, a Tougaloo College graduate, father of 3, works at Jackson State University in the community outreach and serves as the festival producer for the Mississippi Delta Blues and Heritage Festival.
Be quiet. I come from a family of civic leaders, the Campbells, the Dyers, the Josephs, and the Gannons. We have built a lot within this community. I'll get into it later. I take it, everything I've done within the community, but this has all led to my being recognized for the highest civic awards a citizen can get in this community. I've been nominated twice for the Jake Stein Community Service Award, given by the Delta Press Times, and I've received the Greenville Area Chamber of Commerce's Delta Port Pride Award. But I could go into more detail later, but my heart is deeply embedded within this community.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Moulton, and it is my pleasure to serve as the moderator for this section of our program. And this will be a community conversation. We thank the candidates for coming to the community conversation to introduce yourself and your platform to the community. And we thank you, the community, for coming to meet the candidates and learn their thoughts on improving our city. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Okay. Each of the candidates will be asked to respond to 4 questions. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. In the last 30 seconds of your response, Ms. Moore in the pink jacket will stand with that sign. She will remain standing until your 2 minutes is up. And we will thank you, and she will take her seat. Okay? Are there any questions before we get started? Question?
Do we get to respond with the mic?
Yes, sir. Okay. Question number 1, Latanzia Evans.
Greetings, candidates.
My question is, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our city? I'm gonna start with, Mr. Cook.
I will have regular meetings with my constituents and my citizens in my ward to let them know what's going on in the ward so they won't be in the dark. I think all our citizens in Greenville need to know what's going on. It's the right thing to do. Don't just put stuff on the city, they don't know nothing about it. So every meeting, after every meeting, there will be a community meeting in my ward. I can only speak for my ward. I want my board to be abreast on what's going on, what the council is planning to do with your tax dollars. I really think that's what everyone should know what's going on with their tax dollars. That's what they're running slack on, keeping the community abreast on what's going on. That's a need to know. They're not just sitting waiting. The community needs to know what's going on, why, this, where, include myself. That's another reason why I'm wondering for this calendar, this seat, because we all need to know what's going on. Don't wait till the last minute, let the community find out something's going on here. And be truthful to the community as a whole. Be responsible for what you say. Stand up for what you say. Be right about what you say. If you say something mean, if you don't mean it, don't say it. That's me. I'm a man of my word. I can only give you my word.
Same question, Mr. Gannon. Do you need to repeat it?
And
How do you plan to involve residents in decision-making processes in our city?
I plan on forming a partnership with the constituents. We're all citizens, including me, that when they call me, because I'm retired and I've got all day long to do for the betterment of the people of Greenville, I will personally meet with them. I plan on being in a lot of people's living rooms, discussing the problems that they have. I hope in turn they draw their neighbors into these same living rooms. Now, I'm also among the several things I've done as an occupation within the community. I've also worked at a radio station. So I plan to use the media to inform the people of Ward 6 with what is going on. And ideally, what I'd like to do, if the Delta Democrat Times would allow me to do it, I want to publish in the newspaper weekly what the accomplishments were in Ward 6. And I trust we have a lot of activity.
Andre Jackson, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our city?
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight, and especially I'd like to thank the AKAs for allowing us to have this opportunity to bring all of us together and ask the candidates questions. As far as bringing the community together in Ward 6, what I would do is, I'd like to turn Ward 6 into its own homeowners association, involving all of the citizens in Ward 6 in a homeowners association where you can come forward with your ideas, with your plans, with your neighbor that's having a problem with a plumbing issue, a neighbor that's got a house that needs to be knocked down, somebody that has a problem with the roofing. By turning Ward 6 into a homeowners association, you involve the entire community. You can have neighbor help a neighbor by involving them all in the process of making Ward 6 better. The other thing I'd like to do, besides turning it into a homeowners association, is I would like to see every quarter myself mail a quarterly accomplishment report out to the citizens of Ward 6. In going out and visiting people in the ward, I've discovered that a lot of people didn't even know who their council person was. And that's unfortunate. And I'll tell you something else. In the last election, 200 people decided who was the council person for Ward 6. 200. There are nearly 3,000 people in Ward 6. And people are disconnected because the people that we constantly send to City Hall, they're not getting the job done. Greenville is losing a lot of people, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because my 30 seconds is about that. But thank you.
My plan for Ward 6 is to have quarterly meetings with all the constituents in Ward 6. Inform them on what we're dealing with from the city council. Budget time, talking to them about budgets, encouraging them to come to the city hall, to come to the board meeting, to voice their opinion. As Mr. Jackson said, in the campaign, people are just lost because they don't know exactly what's going on, no one's informing them. To encourage them to come, educate them independently, to understand they love Greenville and they got passionate about what they want, and they're not seeing that. So once we do that and educate them, then, you know, even about the budget process that I mentioned earlier, they'll understand. They want results. We've always made excuses. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. They're tired. They want results. And that's what I plan to do, bring from Ward 6 results. Not just conversation, results.
All right, I'm assuming the same question, so I'll keep going. Okay, very similar to what Mr. Jackson and Mr. Moore said. At the end of the day, transparency is the main concerns that a lot of the constituents have had as I've been walking the neighborhoods and talking to a lot of y'all. You do not feel informed. You do not feel like you know what is being discussed at City Hall. While I do think that quarterly meetings or newsletters to inform our Ward 6 residents are great. At the end of the day, too, Ward 6 needs to take some accountability as well. We need to show up to some of our community meetings. I think tonight is a great turnout. The meet and greet that we had the other night, a few weeks ago at Greater Springfield Baptist Church, that was a great turnout as well. But at the end of the day, every seat should be filled here. Our Ward 6 residents should be attending these meetings. They should know when we're having meetings. They should attend City Hall, and that's where those discussions can be had. I think y'all have heard me say it before. One council person isn't going to make a difference. It's going to be the community together. It's going to be the entire council working together to hear the residents' concerns. Ward 6 concerns aren't any different than what our friends living in Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are facing. And so it's going to get all the council members on board, all of us together, working together for transparency and change and speaking up for what matters most to us. I think y'all heard Ms. Epson in her introduction about myself say I employ 300 team members. I have 300 team members spread out among 13 different locations across the Delta. One thing that I find successful as a leader of my organization is making sure that I'm present and I hear their needs. I take time out of my day, out of my schedule to make sure that there's still that one-on-one involvement with them so that I can address the issues that matter most to them. And I would plan to do that if I were elected the Ward 6 City Council representative as well.
Good evening. In doing what's best for the community, I've been back in Mississippi for over 20 years now, and we've been advocating for the community. So we've already been hosting the town hall meetings, inviting residents out to voice their concerns. And we're not just talking at them. We listen. We genuinely listen to what our residents in Ward 6 have to say, in the city of Greenville as well. So we're going to continue to do those town hall meetings. We do those quarterly assessments where we go and we knock on the doors and we sit and we talk to the residents and we let them voice their concerns, but they put it on paper. So the next time we go to City Hall, we can have something in black and white in writing to take to the council to let them know what the concerns of the citizens are. So we'll continue to do those surveys and assessments. We'll continue to listen to the citizens, and those town hall meetings we do not just come with concerns, we're also coming with solutions as well. We say our motto is in those town hall meetings, if you bring a problem, bring a solution, a possible solution as well. So we're going to continue to listen to the residents of Ward 6 and hear their concerns, and we're going to continue to go to City Hall and advocate for the people.
My strategy would be first, I believe in an open policy, being accessible to people. The person say, hey, we selling somebody that's in my other life, I'm gonna be promoted. Everything that I promoted over the last 25 years, got my phone number. It ain't never changed. So if you want to be someone the right phone number, go on social media, my page. It's there. The other thing I like to say is Ward 6 is a very unique ward. It has some of the most affluent areas, where there's parts of it is a gated community, and then there's other areas that don't have sidewalks in the neighborhood. So the need is gonna be different for different parts of it. You know, just like sometimes when you're raising children, some children need a little more love and a little more guidance than others. But certainly, number one, citizens should be thoroughly and consistently encouraged to attend city council meetings. That is your right. Those are your dollars that they're spending. Those are not elected official dollars. Those are the general public dollars, your tax dollars. Just don't attend the city council meeting. Attend the committee meetings as well. Because oftentimes when it comes to the city council meeting, they're taking the recommendations of the committee. And the council members make up those committees, some of people don't. Again, I would host community meetings, post meetings on a calendar, as with community meetings on the calendar, the agenda, and the notes on social media site. Also, I want to set up a site for recommendations as well as a suggestion box.
If you receive the $1 million grant for rebuilding the infrastructure of this city, focusing primarily on the roads, where in Greenville would you begin with this project?
The area we call the South End needs the most help when it comes to infrastructure. With streets, sidewalks, sewer systems, and just the flow of water. I think those two will be my main target.
Thank you. Council Parker?
Yes, I would definitely, Broadway, Field, Reed, uh, like Chauncey said, those are the most traveled on the south end. And those side streets, to be honest, uh, almost every street on the south end could stand a little touch up. Even if it's just a black top, just the top. But we know the infrastructure is the issue because the water has eroded the street from underneath. So unless we repair that, it's not gonna do any good to keep repairing the top, the surface, because we need to get up on there and repair the root of the problem. So definitely, that when we talk about infrastructure, we need to start with the root of the problem. And that's the piping up on the system that's probably been there for over 100 years. We need to get those engineers in there to address the root of the problem.
Susan Osborne.
And it's Sarah. I go by Susan, Sugar and I. Now we got there to vote. We got to see Sarah on there, we got a problem. As much as I would love to answer what road I would tackle first with $1 million, honestly, I would want to bring other people to the table. So I do know that we get a lot of state and federal funding for some of the roads that we have in Greenville, and those are oftentimes our main thoroughfares. I would not touch Highway 82 or Highway 1. I would go after state federal dollars to get those done. I currently sit on the Board of Governors for the Mississippi Economic Council, and I would work with the partners I have at the state level to address the needs locally. Also, I would want to connect with our city officials, our planning department, our Washington County Economic Alliance, all the people sitting at the table right now who are trying to bring industry to our community. We do need really good roads in nearly every single community neighborhood that we have. But right now, it would be prioritizing those needs. Where are the sinkholes? Where are the most traveled roads that we have? What roads could we partner with other organizations? Maybe, for example, I built a hotel, the Tree by Hilton, off of Highway 1. And we were able to do a matching program to get a road done. And that's what I would look like. At the end of the day, $1 million doesn't go that far when it comes to fixing a road. So I would want to make sure the correct people are sitting at the table. I would want to walk my ward, drive my ward, and see what those urgent issues were first. And I see I have 30 seconds, I don't want to be yelled at. And so I would make sure that I have the right people at the table to make an informed decision.
Well, I live there, I drive them every day, so, $1 million would not go far. I know the city has already begun working on the infrastructure for its piping and doing in various neighborhoods. But the main thoroughfare, coming through, Greenville, of course, you got the federal courthouse coming, that area has to be repaired. $1 million will not go very far, but on our end of town, I agree with, my colleagues here, Broadway on the south end, all the way around the Lee Road and some of the main roads going to TL Weston, those areas. We have to, so that's as far as $1 million will go. I can't sit here and sugarcoat it. That's as far as it's going to go.
Well, if I had $1 million to fix roads in Ward 6, as everyone else has said, it wouldn't go very far. Road construction is very, very expensive. But I think instead of putting patchwork out and causing the roads to be even worse than they are, I would pick a few roads that we could effectively redo and make them drivable for people. Give you an example. In and around Mill Road, you can pick the street around that area. And if you're not running in a ditch or in the ravine, there's a lot of road construction that needs to be done over there. But unfortunately, there are other parts of Ward 6 that need help as well. Still parts of Clay Street. So even though the $1 million wouldn't go very far, I would probably spend that money properly repairing 2 or 3 roads than patching 20, and they're just another bump in the road. Thank you.
Y'all can probably hear me without this, tell me if I'm wrong. But as you proposed $1 million, I was told years ago that it costs $800,000 to build 1 mile of new road. I talked to Brad Jones, who many years worked at City Hall, and he raised his eyebrows as to the amount. I take it that meant it actually costs more. But for $1 million, and we're looking at the heart of our city, which is City Hall, I would start with the street right next to City Hall. Why? Because we have people coming into this town and they go down that depreciated road and then go into the building. So we do have areas of attractiveness in the community. So that's a road that needs a repair. Now, I talked to Amelia Wicks this morning, city clerk, knowing I would be here tonight, and looking at street maintenance for this year, which runs from October through September, there is only $250,000 allocated to street maintenance. Now, this city operates with an $81 billion annual budget. We have no discretionary money, she told me. So that's the reality of the problem concerning our streets. We don't have money to repair them. And of course, anybody that gets elected to city council needs to be frugal with what money we have and spend it as wisely as possible. But this is not the Greenville of old. This is the Greenville of today.
Thank you so much, sir.
Candidate Cook, have the final response.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, $1 million won't get you that far. You talk about fixing the street. First of all, you gotta stop the water, watch the street back up. That's number one. Why fix the street, and when it rains, it's gonna flood it back out. You're gonna wash whatever you put down, it's gonna wash it up. 2 years later, you're in the same back. That's number one. Number two, we're in Ward 6. Ward 6 is the first place you see coming out going east on 82. That's what people gonna see is Ward 6. The roads toward from there, and then over that part of the lesser street, Roosevelt. I love you so. All those streets down there. It's just no streets at all. Somebody putting speed bumps down, they already got speed bumps. You know, it's funny, but it's not. But we live in it. I've been here 50+ years. I walk on the streets. I walk my new Ward 6. It's been left out. The $1 million we talking about for doing it on the street, they ain't gonna get the job done. If it started, I really won't get it done. What we need is responsibility. It's do it right the first time, you gotta work out. If Ward 6 get fixed on, the rest of the city gonna get worked on too. My main concern is right now is get Ward 6 back up to par. We back in the 80s right now. From Mill Road, Lewis, Marshall, Daniel, all those streets over behind City Bond over there. All those streets, but $1 million won't even get us kicked off. You just get a conversation. Hush hush. With no work there. Now, we need to stop the hush hush and get some work done. Put some work on the ground. See why I want it. That's the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Give the candidates another round of applause. When a young person told me that we didn't need to make any speed bumps, Greenville has natural speed. At this time, you will have question number 3, Ms. Abigail Courtney.
Ms. Carol Cook, what do you see as the current challenges facing public education in our city? And what ideas do you have to resolve them?
Repeat that again, ma'am.
What do you see as the current challenges facing public education in our city? And what ideas do you have to resolve them?
First of all, we start at the top. I always start at the top. I'm always 3 up on the clock, roll to the bottom. So that's the school board. We start at the school board. They should have more ideas about our kids these days. Our kids are getting less educated. Our kids are being left out. We have a F, a D rating right now. It shouldn't be. It's a F. We don't want to say it, but they're telling like it is. But we need to look at the school board, have responsibility. We leaving out responsibility of us. See, we fail our kids. Our kids didn't fail. Our kids only do what we teach them to do. If we teach them to go into class, don't do nothing, they won't do nothing. I feel parents need to get more involved in their kids, in their school, in the school life. Make sure that attendance are right. Don't just put a child in school just because you want to get away from the house. We got to take some responsibility for ourselves. And after school programs, we need more after school programs for our kids to be better educated. Help. Some of our kids need help. Some of our kids need help. I had to go to summer school every year. Every year I went to summer school. But I learned. And another thing that we always talk about the kids on the street. We need to have some for after school. More programs, after school programs, so our kids will learn instead of just getting into the video game. Take them out the TV, take away that phone, and let them know. I was playing something for that, I will get it. We got many up to build around it. We have teachers that will volunteer, but we got to have the parents support in order for our kids to do what's right. So when parents don't support, kids won't do nothing. I'm very hard and with education. I believe every child needs education. I know every child needs education. But without when the parents, got to be more responsible.
I'm a graduate of Greenville High School in 1972. That what you've got to have a superior public school system is leadership. Starts at the top. I think people need to understand the history of this public school system. And I think they need to promote it. I asked a former teacher of mine one time, who was the national teacher of the year, Dale Thomas. I said, was that just a rumor years ago when I was going to Greenville High? And Greenville High was the top-rated high school in Mississippi, and Dale said, no, Jack, it wasn't a rumor. The state kept statistics on the public schools, and if we weren't number one that year, we were only number 2 behind Burroughs. So people need to understand the proud history of this community. And when I was a student there, and this was after desegregation, football team won the state championship. The boys basketball team won the state championship. The track won it in back-to-back years. I don't know what happened to my buddy Harry England. His friends left. The baseball team only finished second in the state. Band was great. Debate was great. Everything was great at Greenville High School when you had the school administration and the teachers who actually had the leadership skills and taught leadership skills to the youth of this community, and instilled pride. And that's what's lacking today.
The question was about education and how to improve it if given the opportunity. One of the things I think that needs to really happen first is it's going to have to start with the parents. The kids come to school and the teachers who work very hard and for very little pay sometimes have to deal with a lot of kids who are disruptive to the other students at the school. So you've got to get the parents involved to help the students want to learn when they come to school. You need alternative programs for kids who don't want to comply with what the requirements are to be in the public school system. There's a big difference in a private school student graduating and a public school student graduating. Part of it has to do with finances. Part of it has to do with the opportunity in the classroom and the supplies that the instructors have. And a lot of it also has to do, though, with the parents. You know, I was raised in a family of 8 kids, and all 8 kids, and that's, you know, situation is not special, but all 8 kids wanted to learn, had to learn, you know, if your mom and dad didn't want you to do anything else. And as a result of that, you become a better person, not only for your family, not only for your community, but for yourself. So I think the parents have to get involved first. And then you have to work with the school system, the teachers, to try to get people educated. The students have to want to learn. And I see my 30-second time is up. But I'll pass it on now to Mr. Morris, but thank you.
You got to start with leadership. Leadership. Strong leadership. And we're looking for a superintendent every year and a half, every 2. And you got teachers working on the superintendent, doing what this particular superintendent next, he's gone, somebody else is there. It keeps We have no continuity. So the teachers can't teach the way they should teach, and our kids can't learn. If we're gonna hire a superintendent, the next superintendent should be the best one in the state. If you're gonna throw away money, get the best. When you go to a car lot, you don't ask for the worst car, you ask for the best. We need the best superintendent that's gonna be here, gonna stay here, invest their time here to work with the teachers to get our school back up great. We can say the parents, we can say it is leadership. Then you go down to the principal. Don't get the weakest principal to run the school. Get a principal that's going to have leadership that the teachers can follow. Why can't we ask the teacher to follow a leader that's really not a leader? We got to have leadership. We can talk about the parents doing this, the parents doing that, but if you don't let the teachers teach and you don't let the superintendent be the superintendent, we're gonna stay up there. That's the fact.
This is an interesting question because the city works in partnership with the school district. And at the end of the day, you know, I think all of us sitting in this room believe and know that the better the school system, the better the industry, more industry that you can pull in. But I do strongly believe that the city council, other than appointing a member of the school board, must attend meetings and be present. But I do believe that the city council is not going to be able to make a change in the public school district. I agree that we need better leadership. I do agree that we need a superintendent. But I also believe that we are going to, it does start at the home. At the end of the day, parents need to care about their child's education. They need to make sure that they're in school. They need to make sure that they understand what that career pathway looks like. And maybe that's what our job on the city council is to say, hey, I understand that maybe school isn't for you, but let's talk about what classes interest you so that you can have a trade. So you know what you need to accomplish in school to have a successful career. And I believe that. One of the councils I sit on right now, I was appointed this year to a 50-member early childhood investment council. And we meet, it's 50 representatives from across the state. And we meet, we talk about the importance of early childhood education. And while I can't fix the school district, 30 seconds came fast, and neither, I don't think any of us can, and I don't think we can either. I do believe that we need to make kindergarten, pre-K, daycare a priority in our community. And I was shocked to learn how many daycares we have, but that's where it starts. That's where that hungriness comes in to learn and to succeed and to understand that you can read and you can go to your library and you can learn. I mean, we're here as a community to support those children.
Being in education for over 25 years now and being a product of Greenville Public School District, I'm at the point where it's like we're getting beat over the head with this F. We're getting to be, okay, let's move past that and do what we can do to fix it. And I think a part of it is leadership. But I was taught that a child's first teacher is his parents. So I believe it starts at home. And in saying that, I want to put the responsibility where it should go. Everybody has a role to play. So if I'm at home and I'm teaching my children to go to school and learn, we need to come up with more incentives like this F thing, this F thing. What are we doing to encourage the teachers who keep getting beat over the head with the F thing? What are we doing to encourage the parents? Are we having parent universities on the weekend? Are we teaching them and nurturing them to teach the children? Because a lot of our parents are in positions where we have this new curriculum. They simply don't know it. I'm an educator and I look at some of this curriculum, I'm like, okay, let me get started on the phone, help me help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be in a position where we use every moment as a teachable moment. It starts at home, but we have to be willing to help the parents, to help the children. Leadership is key. I believe, I stand with them when they say leadership is key, but I think we need to start at home because it doesn't do any good to send the student. They're sending us the best they have, but it starts at home. We need to learn how to teach the whole child. And another thing, testing. I do believe there should always be a form of assessment, but we test the children to death. And so I can remember when I was in school, we were kind of good. And so if the parents.
Did they? They didn't know.
May I have your attention, please?
Sit down.
All right. For me, I think the first thing is establishing a culture of high expectations.
That's
When
it.
you go to successful school districts, it's the expectations. You can go to some counties and you can say, who has the best school with? It's all of them teach the same curriculum. We're here at Delta about trying to bounce our kids from one school to another to find the best system. But it's a culture of high expectation. And it starts with the administration, with the principal. That if you come in here, it's an F rating. So you asking for a big challenge. If you get up to the challenge, don't come. We want you to know what you're facing. When it comes to, we got to engage our community partners. I think one of the things we can do immediately and is our after school program. We got all these fraternities for and I'm a member of one. We got Easter Stars, Mason, Motorcycle Club, this club. Everybody should be mandated. I think for the Divine Nine should be mandated to have an after school program. And we got a blueprint for it because there's a Divine Nine in every community in this country. If Greenville right now said the Divine Nine wanted to do an after-school program immediately, that's 9 after-school programs. And it can be done, and they're intelligent people. But there's no need for students to go home if they're not achieving. That's the biggest effect that I think we can have.
You follow directions there. Thank you. While we get ready for the fourth question, I would just like to plant a little seed of thought in every mind here. How many of you are not a member of Ward 6? Raise your hand, please. Raise it high. I'm interested in hearing. Okay, thank you. The reason I asked that question is, remember, the person who receives that seat at the city council will also vote for things that affect wards 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. So thank you. Give yourselves a hand. And listening to the person who will vote from Ward 6 representing them. But when all 6 of them sit at the table, they represent all of us in this room with whatever they vote for the city of Greenville. So it's very important to know who will be sitting at the table. Thank you. Question number 4, Ms. Natasha Higgins.
Greetings, everyone. Many residents in our community say that we have a serious traffic problem here. Do you agree with this statement? And if so, how do we mitigate those concerns? Since this is question number 4, I'll start with candidate number 4.
You said a traffic problem?
Yes, sir.
What type of traffic?
It says, many residents in our community say that we have serious traffic problems. What is your opinion on this, and how would you mitigate those concerns?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say what type of traffic problem. If we talk about speeding, yeah, we have a speeding problem. My thing, we be enforcing speeding, since my background is law enforcement, 28 years of law enforcement, and I'm retired police chief. So traffic is a problem everywhere, but, when I worked here years ago, we had a traffic division that ran radar and worked accidents to slow people down. But as time, moved on, we don't have that kind of staff to do that. It's upon the citizens to drive that correctly. City council, I don't know much what we can do other than we can't write anyone in town tickets. Okay, now, part of the traffic is the traffic lights that when we had 50, 60,000 people here, the time on the traffic light is still the same. That's 1987. So you get there, Broadway and Alexander, you're gonna sit there for 5 minutes and you gotta be at work, right? You're gonna sit in that traffic. So we need to look at those, change our traffic lights. When you pull up, there's no one there, it automatically changes. Why would you sit there for 5 minutes and there's no traffic coming at all? So those are some of the things that we can do, other than running radar, having an officer working traffic. Also, kind of, measure the traffic, our traffic areas, put a counter there, see how much, work with the MDOT to, give us some help and assist with the traffic. My time is up.
I'm looking at it. All right, this is like a state question where you can figure out state testing question, go either way. The traffic problem is, again, this is open for interpretation. So I grew up in Memphis and I lived in Dallas. So if we want to talk about traffic, I don't know if we have the same traffic that we do in a big city. However, I think that there are ways for us to look at turning lanes, for an example. My husband and I often talk about this when you are driving down Bowman Boulevard and you want to turn onto either Highway 1, like you're going to Walmart, or you're turning onto Main Street, like you're going to Gino's to grab a sandwich or something. We can have turning lanes so that, if the light is taking too long, you can just mosey onto that right lane and turn and keep going, and it keeps traffic flowing. So maybe those would be solutions, but again, we talked about how far $1 million goes for a road project. But that would be something to discuss so that some of these main thoroughfares, we don't get as backed up. I understand what Mr. Morris was saying about a traffic division. Well, that's great. I think every police officer should be equipped with a radar and they should be able to stop anyone who is speeding, or maybe they don't have a license, a correct license, or a headlight is out. But again, that's a whole nother question with crime. We need more officers, boots on the ground, responding to some of the other serious issues that we have in the town other than speeding. If we also talk about a traffic problem, yes, I do agree that people speed in this town, but how fast can you go when you hit a speed bump and your tire blows? So, I think this is one of those, is it an issue to tackle? Sure. But I also, traffic, if that's up for interpretation. I strongly believe.
I agree. So with traffic, the only thing that I can think of is, like you said, post up. Well, we do know there is a shortage with police officers, so and they have to prioritize. But if you know the high traffic areas where there is speeding and things going on and crime is going on, I think if we take the few we have and post up and be visible to the community, I think it would deter some of the traffic.
Traffic ain't random thing. It really is. You really have to sit before a red light change to make sure nobody runs through it. There's a disregard, and I think a lot of it is police presence. It's not the police fault. We need more police presence. And we just came back the way we want to get more police, but I think we can be more strategic about how we use our police force. Going morning traffic where people are heading to work, We need to have more of a presence. When people are getting, kids are getting out of school, we need to have more of a presence. When people are getting off work, we need to have more of a presence. I think strategic roadblocks, and I know police officers got, their first order of business is responding to calls. But we got to start collaborating with other departments and other task force that has the authority to work outside of their county to come in whenever they can. Because these roadblocks, they're going to help. When people hear that there's a roadblock, either they don't go or they go correctly. That's what people fear. I'm a community outreach coordinator for DUI prevention list. People are going to avoid getting the DUI when they know there's a high police presence. When people know that police presence is there, that's when I think we just have to be this strategic. And we ain't gonna be able to fix it all quick, but I think there's some time that we can get some of this disregard for traffic signals under control.
Well, dealing with traffic is something everybody deals with every day. I have a few ideas that I'll share with you. One is an example, as he mentioned, the cops can't be everywhere. But if you get a cop cam that captures a license plate when it's going down Washington Avenue, 45 in the 30 zone, you automatically get a ticket in the mail. So when that happens, people start slowing down because you've got these cams all around town. You don't have to pay police officers, it's a one and done. You buy the cop cams, cars speeding down that road, trucks going down the lane they shouldn't be going down, snap the picture, you get a nice little ticket in the mail. That frees up police officers to do what Mr. Wright suggested, which is the thing I'm really big on, I think the city needs to do, which is have roadblocks. Criminals move around in cars, they're not walking. And in these cars, if you have roadblocks, you stop people with guns in their car, open containers, no seat belts, no driver's license, no insurance, in some cases, no tags. So you can control traffic in those ways while freeing up the officers to do what they need to do while they're out here trying to catch the bad guys. Do you know on any given weekend, there are as few as 4 police officers patrolling this entire city? That's a problem. And so you're not going to have a lot of free time for your officers to do traffic control. But if you get a traffic cam where it snaps the picture of the tag for people that are speeding, you generate revenues, people are aware of it, and maybe it will help people slow down a little bit and protect the community. Thank you.
The Greenville Police Department's got $8 million in its budget for this year. We don't have enough officers. And I talked to an officer a few years ago. He said Bowman is a terrific problem in the mornings. And I said, well, why can't you?
Can he speak up? He's low. He's low. Can he
You
speak up?
start that lane running parallel to each other. And you make all the cars behind you triple the speed limit. Do it on a regular basis. Try to get these people into the habit of obeying the speed limit. Now, if the media would help us and re-educate people, bring to the ABCs of being a good citizen here, we're looking at traffic, unbelievable or unimaginable. The year 2025, you still got people here who don't understand that when you're in the right lane at a red light, in Mississippi, it's legal to make a right-hand turn on red unless there's a sign saying you can't do it. It wastes a lot of people's time. A great example of that is right here at Shipley's Donuts. So what do I end up doing? I weigh in my mind, okay, I bet you that car in front of me is going to block the traffic. So then I go down Mary Street, like many other people do, tearing it up on account of people not turning right red. So, anyway. All right.
Well, we sit here all day, we talk about that. I drive all day. Heavy traffic is from 6 to 8 in the morning, 12 to 1 in the afternoon, 5 to 7 in the evening. Maintenance traffic is somebody just coming down the street, they blocking traffic. Somebody blocking, they park the wrong way on the street, this fellow gonna talk, bag traffic. Police, it's not always gonna be there. We need to sit down and come out with a plan. We can talk all night about traffic. Until we get together and make a plan, that's the only way it's gonna work. You ain't gonna stop traffic. You want traffic to come to town because they do business, but you're not gonna stop traffic. You can help them, like put the police pressure. We talk about buying this and doing this and taking a picture of this and taking a picture of that. It's never gonna work until you sit down and talk. We can talk all night. Till the end of the morning. You're still gonna get traffic. There's gonna be a traffic jam when we leave here. We figure out a plan. Down the camera here, down the camera left. It's gonna do the same thing until we come up with a plan. We got to have a master plan. And sometimes everybody does it. But we have to sit down. Like I said, I know when the traffic, I drive a whole 6 to 8 heavy traffic, 12 to 1 heavy traffic, 5 to 7. Lord have mercy on fire. Here's how I want to go home. All right, and at midnight, from 10 to 2, and it's out gonna be just Middle Street gonna be 8 to 1 is gonna be down there. I know. So I see. I've been there. I've done that. I jammed that.
Excuse me, there is a black Mercedes truck tag investing me on the parking lot out here with the lights on.
There you go.
Candidates, you have motivated our audience. You have given us much food for thought. And at this time, some of our participants in the audience would like to ask you a question. Some have been passed to one of our presenters. So at this time, Latanzia Evans will read one of the questions.
They can tell us we can write our question down.
What is, will you bring the chief of police to help curb crime in Ward 6?
The NAACP as well as the local organizing committee has already committed to, collaborating with Chief Turner, and other city officials for the Omaha 360, program. And what that is a initiative to basically address the crime in the community. So we're already working on that, and we're going to collaborate with another program called 10,000 Peerless, where we basically police our own communities. We get boots on the ground, we reach men. Men are actually going out to mentor to the younger generation, not talking at them, but actually talking to them. So we're going to collaborate, continue to collaborate with City of Greenville and Chief Turner in implementing that Omaha 360 program to deter some of the crime.
Thank you. Latanzia?
That's up to you.
Yes. I think first, since he's very big, my idea would be take some of that work off of him by doing some research and finding out what agencies outside of our city that has multi-county jurisdiction, that are running details, that has the authority, where can we tie into that? And we also need to address the problem of money. We gotta figure out how to bring more revenue to the city. We gotta advocate for more police officers for our city. We gotta go out and get the federal funds to do so. Those funds exist, but somebody has to take on that task and go do it and make it their project. Everything that we're talking about is gonna take some more resources. Our tax base just is not enough. And we see that every day in the city. You got $250,000 allocated out of $8 million for road repair. It's just not enough. You know, funds exist, and I continue to share this message. 2 years ago, all we heard about Jackson was water first. Water off. They can't do this anymore. You can't take it to healthcare. The businesses don't anymore. You just had rapid freeze of temperature 2 times. You hear nothing about Jackson. Man. Jackson got almost $1 billion in infrastructure. So the money's there. We gotta go get some resources to help our city.
You know, this is crime, can be brought into almost any discussion that we've had today, all 4 questions that we've been asked. I would love to know where our police representation is today. The chief is not here, and I think that that is imperative that he comes to a lot of the community meetings we have so that he can hear and address the concerns of the residents. We talked about the school system earlier. Crime is happening at an escalated pace with our young kids. They need to be in school. We need to make sure that they're not on the streets, that they don't have access to guns, that, you know, we talked about that they're driving in cars. A lot of the crime is happening when they're walking down the streets. They should be in school. And at the end of the day, we talked about leadership starts at the top, but it also starts at the home. We need to be talking to our children about crime and the consequences of crime and why education is important. As a community, then we can also talk about after-school programs. Right now, I'm a member of Junior Auxiliary of Greenville, and we're working with the Boys and Girls Club to revamp their after-school program. I thought it was very fascinating that they were able to increase enrollment from 50 students last year to over 150 this year. I would love to see that number go up to 250 if they have the capabilities to work with that many students. But that's what it's going to take. Yes, do we need more boots on the ground from police? We do. That's without a doubt, but that's nationally, y'all. As a community, though, we can invest in our students. We can make sure they're in school. We can make sure they're at after-school activities. We can support their school program. Greenville has soccer team this year. Oh my gosh, amazing, y'all. It was incredible. But where was the community support to show them that we were proud of them? So
That's right.
It's going to take a village. But at the end of the day, too, I do believe crime starts at home.
I've dedicated over 28 years to that. And it's all what we're talking about tonight. It's all in it together. Hogs and wrecks. Kids don't have anything to do but get off the street. I grew up in the roughest neighborhood in Clarksville, Johnson knows. If you blink, they'll shoot you, okay? But over 200 kids in that neighborhood graduated high school, and majority of them graduated college. Because we had after-school program, it starts with our young people in our parks and rec. We got most of our parks closed down. We got our buildings dilapidated, okay? So, you know, that starts your crime. When you start cutting your budget for parks and rec, then the kids will start, you're gonna see the crime go. I've done it for a long time. And Judge Simpson will tell you, that's it. It'll start from there and it's gonna grow. You can have as many police officers you want on the street, but if you don't have that intervention with those kids, that's gonna happen. Now, as far as the police,
Use what you have. As a police chief, I tell them use what you have. It don't take rocket scientists to treat a person right. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to meet and talk with your constituents in the neighborhood. How many of y'all have police officers just stop and just talk to them and say hi? You have to have that communication in order to solve the the problem that you have. If I'm just driving by with my earphones in my ear and not talking to a recognizing citizen or talking to the people in the community, I'm not going to solve anything. You're not going to do it. You could have 100 of them. If they just pass by and don't talk, you're not going to do it. Community involved. Everybody in Greenville is concerned about crime. And everybody says pretty much the same thing. You need more officers, you need to have after-school programs, you need to get community involved. But there's another issue that's going on in Greenville, which is kind of causing a big problem. We're losing our population, people. Greenville has lost 17,000 residents since 1990. People are getting out of here. 500 people a year are leaving Greenville, Mississippi. When you lose your population, you lose your tax base. When you lose your tax base, you don't have revenue to hire police officers. When you lose your tax base, you don't have funds to fix your streets. When you lose your revenue, you don't have money for education. 17,000 people since 1990 have left Greenville, Mississippi. This city peaked in 1991, I believe, at about 46,000 people. We're down to 27. That's a projection for the next census. So if your revenue base disappears, you're not going to be able to have enough police enforcement to help solve the crime. But to his point, which is a very good point, use what you have. Roadblocks are very, very, very important because these criminals are traveling with weapons, they're doing drive-by shootouts. And as I think Mr. Wright said, or somebody else said, when people see roadblocks, it causes them to think twice about what they're doing. But all of this stuff is important. The revenue, the number of police officers on the street. Police have a very, very tough job. They have to chase people all the time. They're very
Couldn't wait for somebody to ask me where I was from, knowing that we Greenville in almost every state. They invariably would look at me and say, that doesn't have to be Mississippi's, does it? And me with great pride would say, yes, it is. And then the person would say, you were so fortunate to live there. And I said, yes, I am. So we as a people, we've got to quit looking to bring other people into solving our community problems. That of course, when you see something suspicious going on, it's your duty to call your neighbors and bring in the police department and work with the police department. Don't expect the police department to solve all our crime problems. When we used to have front porches, it was a beautiful situation in this town where a juvenile.
Thank you so much.
But once again, we're not gonna find it. Well, first of all, we won't stop. We're gonna continue to go on. But what we can do is watch this. We got a neighborhood watchdog. That way we watch out for each other. See something? Say something. Don't be scared. See, cause when you're scared, man ain't gonna say nothing. What a scared man from? Okay? So in the neighborhood, bring back the courage crime. Like I said, we won't stop crime. We won't never stop crime. But you can courage crime. When you see something, say something. Call your neighbor, you see somebody walking out. You know when somebody don't walk out in the street, you know a strange person. But you don't see that person in the neighborhood before. I'm gonna keep an eye on them. I do. I'm gonna tell you right now, I do. Cause I like my neighborhood. I love my neighborhood. It's been there for 50+ years. They're gonna die right there. You know, that's because I love the community. And I want to see our community Ward 6 grow. That's what it's all about. I want to see our children grow up just like I grew up in the neighborhood. My child grew up in the same neighborhood. We just have to watch out for each other. That's number one. Watching out for people. You know, lost that sight. We don't watch out for nobody. We're all concerned about one person. That's it. Be concerned about your neighbor. Might be the whole age stands in your feet. Be concerned about them. Chief Turner can't do it all. We can help him. We can help Chief Turner out. Pick up the phone and call. We can help our neighbors out. You know, so-and-so, I saw so-and-so walking down the street. They don't belong in this neighborhood. I never seen this neighborhood. You don't accuse them of nothing. You just saying you saw somebody strange in the neighborhood. Like I say, we would not stop crime in nowhere. Ward 6, 3, 4, 5, nowhere in the world. We can help each other by slowing it down, by working together, and number one, be on one accord.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Candidates, we have time for one more question from the Latanzia before we move to the end of our program. Latanzia.
What are some things you would do to improve the look of our city? There is high grass, trash, and abandoned houses. And how do you help to improve downtown to help with tourism?
Volunteers.
First of all, to make it look better, we got to get rid of some the old dilapidated house. That's right. Houses that been worked 2 years ago still standing. That's right. Cut the grass. Make people be responsible for empty lots that they're renting. If they own the lot, they should be. The city has to put it. They have to make it. It's good, yes.
I have a question about that. Okay. I'm from Ward 6, and I know that you're from Ward 6, and I know Tosh from Ward 6. Build it back. So now I have a lot in Ward 6 that I can't build back because if I tear it down, it's not big enough to build back. So now I can only cut the grass and pay tax. Can you guys promise me that you're gonna fix that law in Ward 6?
Thank you.
In Ward 6, there's a law that says if the line is not large enough, you can't, if you tear your house down, you can't build back. But so I can only pay tax and keep my lot cut because I can't do nothing with it. So we need to get rid of that law so we can rebuild our houses back in Ward 6. Can you guys help us with that?
Not next to you.
It's my understanding now. I'm not up there yet.
Right? I understand that. When you get there,
What you understand is lots got to be so big. See, we back. It's in the old, your house like that was built back in, when it could be close to the side.
right, so the only thing I have to do with my lot is cut it and pay tax. If I don't pay tax, it's gonna be taken.
Excuse me, our questions are coming from members of the committee. We do not want to attack any candidate here.
We're not attacking the
So
county.
let's keep it with the questions from Latanzia. Would you repeat that question and we'll give any other candidate who would like to respond to that, we'll give them an opportunity to respond to that question.
What are some things you would do channel 2, the Lazard City. There's high grass, trash, and abandoned houses. How will you improve downtown to help with tourism?
I think Keep Greenville Clean is an organization that, hosts, cleanups. I don't know if they do it quarterly, but, there are different organizations, like NAACP, we do an annual, well, once a year, we collaborate with the Stop the Violence, so we go on the south end and we clean. I know they see us out there on Theodore Broadway cleaning, so I think if we continue to collaborate with different programs, and I take a month, we clean these 3 streets, you take a month, you clean, I think we need to continue to build those relationships with the different organizations too. If we continue to, collaborate with each other, different organizations to just help beautify the city. Like if I know, Brother Chester has some lawnmowers, I can take my nephews to Chester and ask him, can he use his lawnmower to take them to the elderly people in the neighborhood to get their yards cut. We just gotta work together to keep it clean. And then as far as bringing tourism to, downtown, I am a business owner and I am working on a plan to bring a business to Lake Ferguson, a water sports and boating company. So I think that's going to be something, if we continue to build businesses, I think that we'll continue to bring revenue to the city of Greenville and downtown.
All right, I'll be brief. One of the first things that I would do if I were to be elected, is make sure we have a meeting with our planning department and our code enforcement officer. I think that's key. Right now that if you don't want to pay a fine, I know I don't want to pay a fine, but if your grass is overgrown, there are consequences. If your house is boarded up, there are consequences. So it'd be a meeting with the code enforcement officer to make sure that he or she, that we're on the same page about ensuring that our city is beautiful and we're following all the policies, the city policies. Another thing that I would do is work with an organization to have trash cans put downtown. A lot of times if you have a vibrant downtown, you have a vibrant city. There's a lot of money being poured into our downtown right now. I'm really excited about it. The federal courthouse looks great. We're anticipating it opening soon, and that's sparking a lot of revitalization downtown, and I think that's great. But let's take pride in that. And as a community, we can work together. And I think having public trash cans out there would be a first and I'm going to say, quote, easy thing to do to encourage our residents, our visitors to put their litter in the trash can. Something that we're working on right now at the Washington County Economic Alliance and sit on their executive committee is to make sure that we don't put plywood on boarded up windows. I'm going to use plexiglass instead. That's something that we're working to get approved, and that'll help curb crime, but it'll also be visually more appealing to see plywood put up. 30 seconds is there, and I'm not going to let her yell at me.
I would work collaboratively with residents, organize and identify the housing areas that need to be torn down, meet with the planning committee, and because there's some steps you have to go through in order to get those houses torn down. The city just can't walk on that line and tear them houses down. It's a process you have to go through. But identify those areas with those residents, meet with them quarterly, and just stay with the planning committee until we get it done. I mean, we know that they need to be torn down, and I understand the young man's question over there, but that's an ordinance that we couldn't build back on. That's something that, that's what that is. When the house torn down, that you can't, the lot is not big enough required now for you to build back on, and that's the issue. A lot of our citizens have moved away from Greenville. They have to research and find those people. Some people are out of state. And it takes a while to get some of it down. I know they got a lot of them on the list to be torn down. And also, that's extra money that the city has to spend to tear it down. But they do need to be torn down and work together with a group, with the citizens identifying Lee Street and Ward 6 and go to work.
Greenville has an accountability problem when it comes to the way the city looks. I mean, let's just get real here for just a second. And the last time we had a meet and greet, I brought the situation up about the budget. Greenville has a budget less than 100,000 to maintain the over 500 lots the city is responsible for. The fact of the matter is you need almost $500,000. So if you don't have the money and you know you're $400,000 short, the question is, what do? I said this the last time this subject matter was brought up. You can't just raise your hands and go, well, we don't have the money. If you continue to have an accountability problem here in Greenville, all of these lots can continue to have high grass. Your medians in the middle of the road are still going to have weeds coming up. These old dilapidated houses are still going to be in your neighborhoods. And just to give you a little bit of accountability, let's talk for just a second about downtown Greenville. Next to the Dawkins Office Supply Company, that building fell down almost a year ago. And it still looks like it fell down a year ago. And that's because there's no accountability. Right at the corner of, I believe, Syllable and Washington Avenue, that building recently collapsed. It's been nearly a month, and there's still bricks on the sidewalk. So if you don't have a system in place to hold people accountable, whether it's the city government or the people that own the properties, Greenville's going to continue to look just like it looks now, blighted, run down, and with no responsibility and accountability by the people that we elect and send to city hall.
I talked to a landscaper a couple weeks ago, and he said you've got certain focal points within this community, one of them being the intersection of 182. He said it really needs to pop out because of other areas too. And I think Daniel Boggs and the Main Street program, Greater Greenville, is doing a great job in downtown Greenville. They'll continue to do their thing. It may go back to pride within the people here. Just in the same Greenville that it used to be. I don't have an answer as to how you renew pride in people. I'll say again, the media could educate people about the way the town used to be to people who think it was never anything. But back in the 60s, the now late mayor Pat Dunn told me, he said, I was looking for a trophy to put in the foyer at City Hall for when people walked in. So you could take a step back saying, I'm not believing you. Greenville used to be the cleanest city its size in America. And Pat told me you're not looking for one trophy. He said you're looking for two. And he said those trophies were so big that Southern Airways made the passenger seat full. But the trophies are gone. Somebody took the trophies. They searched the whole building for the trophies, even in the basement. But that's the history of this town. And nobody's promoting the history of this place. And you gotta let these people know that our predecessors were superior people, and we're descendants of them, and we should do no less than what they did.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Cook, would you like a moment to respond to that question?
Well, thank you. But bring it back to make it look better, what we got to come down and say. Trash and all y'all, this is what we want. I'm saying what the people want. When we clean up and put the trash on the street, we expect the dollars to come sweep it up.
Amen.
That's no good. Number two, we don't need the excuse for the truck to work out. You can get mad behind.
All right.
But you want the grass cut,
That's what we
but you
did.
gonna come get some trash outside the street. You wanna argue with me, but I can't talk back to you. Number two, we talking about downtown? Yes, it's falling down. And you bet Christmas time, we got the same light fixture.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You go to any other town,
Cleveland.
they up the wall.
Cleveland.
Go right to 35 miles down, they right.
Yep.
We in the dark. We can do better than that. Even from City Hall, same Greenville. Things sitting in front of City Hall, like every Christmas. We talking about the way we look better. We talking about making Greenville look better. We start with ourselves, start going up, don't look back.
That's right.
Every time you look back, slow down. You get mad, then you're gonna stop. Or anybody else. Sometimes we have to take the blame ourselves.
That's right.
But at the same time, it's a personal thing. It's a group. Like I said, we all need to get on one accord. Until we don't get on one accord, we don't never do nothing. Until we come to agreement with each other, instead of pointing blame, we all look at each other. We need to get together, get it straight, get it right, and move. That's all I can say. Brief job.
Mom. Recording.
Yes, sir. The issue of the dilapidated housing, the grown grass, that's a big challenge. What we need is a strategic plan. Because we can't tear them all down at one time. We can't cut them all at one time. And that situation where you can't build something else there, so we need to strategically figure out which ones to board up, which ones to tear down, which ones we can maintain cutting the grass. When it comes to tourism for downtown, we're behind.
Yes.
There's no way the other communities should be ahead of us.
That's right.
We got a riverfront. Other people don't have. We got a blues culture. We got a liberating culture. We got food culture. We got Nelson Street.
Come on.
We got the oldest blues festival in the world.
Come on.
All of these things should be tying in together to create cultural tourism.
That's it.
That's very important. I'm from Clarksdale. They way ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
They give me a lot of fits every time I go up there. But just go look at Ground Zero, that is right across the street from the Blues Museum. That's by design. There are all kinds of festivals, from the Tennessee Williams Festival. It's all kinds of events going on. Just go to their calendar of events.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have more cultural tourism.
That's right.
If we can, and we got the community access to do it.
That's right.
Back to 30 seconds, Momsy.
This will be your last statement to the community. Think about tomorrow being Tuesday, April the 7th, 2025. In 30 seconds, what would you say to your community? 30 seconds.
Good morning, somebody. You gotta worry about that 30 seconds. Right now. Well, what I would say is, I want to bring more resources to the community. We need more dollars to address our problem. I have the ability to bring those state and federal dollars to this community. And I also have a network of people that I can work with to bring it. It's a lot of things we want done, but we gotta have the resources to do it. We need to help ourselves.
I've been doing the work for over 20 years. I want to continue to do the work. Officially, with the resources, I can do the work. I've been doing it. I just want the people to allow me to represent them officially.
I am not here to deceive or to trick you. I'm a woman of my word, and I'm ready for action. I have been a business leader for several years and I oversee 300 employees in a $26 million budget. I'm here and I'm committed to my word. I've listened to the voices of our community and I would like to see Ward 6 be successful and succeed. I'm not a politician. I'm a community member. I'm your neighbor. At the end of the day, I want the same things you do, and I'm here to work with different partnerships to bring you solutions and results.
I'm elected Ward 6. I promise each and every member, a citizen of living in Ward 6 to be treated fairly, with dignity and respect that they deserve. No matter where you live, you will get that respect from me. I plan to look forward to bringing industry in for our kids. I'm always about the kids. Trampoline park, different things. Try something different because what we're doing is not working. Like Chauncey said, we have all the resources here. Let's get together and do that. And I will be part of that. Thank you.
Greenville is a great town. Ward 6 is a great ward. But we've got to have somebody that goes down to City Hall and who's going to go to work. Somebody that's not going to make a bunch of promises. Somebody that's going to go down there with boots on the ground and get this thing done for the city of Greenville. A lot of politicians have gone down to City Hall and made a whole lot of promises, and yet we're still in decline. So you have to ask yourself just one question, which is all I ever say. All of these people up here are good, decent people. They really are. But you got to pick somebody that you trust who's going to go down there and work hard as hell to make a change in Greenville. Or you're going to continue to lose those 500 people a year, 17,000 since 1990, and our city just continues to decline. So if I had the opportunity to serve Greenville in Ward 6, I'm going down there to make a change, a real change in people's lives. Thank you.
Please repeat the question.
What is the last statement you would make to this group of people if tomorrow was the day that they vote for the candidate to sit in the Ward 6 of the city council? What would you say to us?
I would tell them what people have told me, that we've reached a crisis period in Greenville district, that Greenville needs a full-time city councilman to work on these problems daily. I am retired. I'm 71. I've still got a lot of energy, and I have a deep love for this community. I have no family that I'm responsible for. I'm the last of my family living here. After the first one, as I said earlier tonight, arrived in 1889. I've got all the time in the day to be involved in this community. And looking at what I've actually done for this town, you can go around this town and put your hands on projects that I've been involved in. It all started with getting the Burn Center built here, which brought great acclaim to this community. All the way through when we were able to develop.
Thank you.
Well, if tomorrow, this is my last. It ain't how much money you got, how you manage, what you spend on. You have actually elected officials that's gonna be active on, and tell you what's going on. You need active department head. $1 million, $2 million. It don't make no difference. It's to be active on what you're doing. It's what you got to do with. Be responsible for what you do. And if you all know what I'm trying to do. I'm about hard and being fair. I can't make promises I can't keep. I can't sit up here and tell you I'm gonna promise you this. I can't promise you. Tomorrow speak for itself. All right?
Thank you.
Please give the candidate another big round. The chairman of this committee will come and we will end our program.
Thank you, Ms. Mobley. Let's give these candidates another round of applause. I think that we have truly been filled with a wealth of information here tonight. And I think each one of these candidates spoke from their heart. And people, we have to make a choice. However, it kind of troubles me when Ms. Moulton called for the seat of residents that did not live in Ward 6. And the reason why it troubles me is because all of this information that's conveyed here tonight should have been heard by the residents of Ward 6. However, I know that in a public seat, you are going to represent everybody that you can possibly represent. You're going to make phone calls and get things done. I know how that goes. However, it still troubles me that we don't have Ward 6 represented as I thought they would be out here tonight. So Ward, those of you that are here from various wards, please try to encourage Ward 6 about information that has been given here tonight. It was absolutely great information. Now, to the audience, I want to say thanks to each and every one of you that took out of your busy schedules to come out here and share in this forum with us. I say forum, but I didn't name it forum. I named it table conversation. I just wanted a conversation with the candidate. And I wanted everybody to feel right at home when they talk to them. You don't have to feel like they're above you or you're above them. Let's get on some common ground with each other. And that's what I thought that came out of this tonight. Good job. I want to also say that, Mr. Cook, there's one thing that stayed on my mind when you gave a statement, talking about the lights, the Christmas lights need to be changed, because the family, you didn't look at the Christmas lights. I know, but I got 2 committee members. I'm gonna let you know you stepped on my toe. You stepped on my toe. The lights so much bright. We went down watching them. Did you ever ride up on the lid? Come on, man. We worked hard.
I'm sorry.
I want to also say, I would like for my first vice president, Ms. Barbara Moulton, I need you all to come up here. I need all of the committee members to stand.
Banana, you did good.
And I'm telling you that these are some hardworking women. They're some hardworking women. And they may not be able to answer your call because they're into various things, and it's okay. But they will return the call, and that's what's most important. I will return the call. However, I don't want for anything with this committee. This committee is on top of the game, as they would say. And I want to let them know that I appreciate all that you all do. I appreciate you all so much. We have really worked this committee, and this committee has done tremendous things. So I love my committee. Now, my other thing is our president is going through with some challenges with her husband. She told me she called me last night and talked to me again and gave me her request. But not to everybody knows Sheila, we call her Sheila. But some people may know about Bill Smith. She's gonna be at everything that AKA puts on. She's gonna hop out of his script, just like Miss Gang. You might not be here on time, but she's gonna be smiling. And I love that about her. She promised, she'll tell you, I'm on my way, and a few minutes later, you're gonna see. So I love those two ladies. And tonight, this program is being dedicated to our president for the challenges that she's going through, and to let her know that we can carry on the good works of her and young people. So this program is dedicated to our president, Delta Sheila Smith. If y'all need to give her- Okay, and now, the big thing is, it's 8:05. And I told you all that I would have you out of here at 8 o'clock. However, we have plenty of food in the back. So please don't leave. Please get you some food before you leave, because we have prepared for you. And again, I thank each of the candidates for accepting my invitation. Nobody turned me down. Ms. Robinson told me that there was a conflict with us, with our schedule, and that if she could be present, she was. And she said if she could get out of it, apparently she couldn't get out of it. She called back and told one of the committee members that she could. But even so, I think it's been an absolutely outstanding night. And I thank each and every one of you for coming out to support. Thank you so much. Go to the back and get food. And also, I'm gonna say what my grandmother used to say. Y'all hard now a little bit.
Stop.
Cleveland, Mississippi. It is time to go back to the ballot box and vote to re-elect Robert L. Sanders as alderman for Ward 2. Sanders is a devoted family man who is committed to community, keeping God first. Sanders is no stranger to service. Sanders' superpower is having a listening ear, and for the most part, people appreciate when they're heard. And once they're heard effectively, Sanders can get results. Vote to re-elect Robert L. Sanders Tuesday, April 1st. Trey Hobbs has a message just for Ward 6.
Hey y'all, we down here in Ward 6. I need y'all to vote my cousin Tarsha Parker for city council. Thank you.
Find your street name and vote to elect Tarsha Parker, Ward 6 councilperson, on Monday, April the 7th at Greater Springfield Baptist Church. If you need a ride to the polls, call the number on the screen, 662-522-7354.
My name is Tarsha Parker, and I approve this message.
Indianola and surrounding areas, you're invited to the 2025 Mardi Gras celebration at St. Benedict the Moore Catholic Parish Center in Indianola, Saturday, March 29th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. For your $20 ticket, call 662-887-1689.
Medicare. Are you turning 65 or new to Medicare, Part A and B? If so, you may qualify for additional benefits at no cost to you. Are you a veteran with Medicare Part A and B? If so, you may qualify for additional benefits at no cost to you. Call your local licensed professional agent, Juanita Lacey Larry. Don't hesitate. Call her today, 662-515-9414. Your local agent is waiting for you, 662-515-9414. That's Juanita Lacey Larry, 662-515-9414.
Because accidents can happen anytime, anywhere. You might need an attorney named Malik Z. Shabazz with 26 years personal injury experience, providing nationwide services. Attorney Malik Z. Shabazz has collected millions for his clients and you could be next. Call today 301-513-5445. Know your rights. Call attorney Malik Z. Shabazz today.
What you're doing right now and download the G Wood Live app. It's absolutely free. There's no cost. I'll say it again. It's absolutely free. It's your way to stay connected and stay involved in the community. Download the G Wood Live app on your Apple or your Google Play. Stay connected, stay positive, stay involved. Download the G Wood Live app today.
Because accidents can happen anytime, anywhere. You might need an attorney named Malik Z. Shabazz with 26 years personal injury experience, providing nationwide services. Attorney Malik Z. Shabazz has collected millions for his clients, and you could be next. Call today 301-513-5445. Know your rights. Call attorney Malik Z. Shabazz today. right? Now, can you, for everybody who's not familiar with you, tell us who you are and why you want to run for Ward 6. I understand you've been here all your life and you have a love for this place. So tell us your name and why you want to run.
I'm Jack Gannon. My mother died 2.5 years ago. And civically, uh, I was out of the loop, so to speak, where I was spending a lot of time paying attention to her needs. But I don't think civically we've had the number of activities going on here that we used to have years ago. So I had a greater opportunity to get involved in my beloved Greenville. So, not having my mother to attend to anymore and looking at my lengthy track record of community service, when I heard that the longtime councilman, James Wilson, had died, I thought, you're 71 years old. You've still got a lot to give, man. That everybody in life has got to have a purpose in order to continue living, to warrant living. And I've always loved doing community work. And being retired, looking at this hard economy that we currently have, the least reason I got involved was if I had to win this seat, it's the only civic committee I ever would have served on in which you actually get remunerated for your time. So I've had these three needs of late in my life. So if I would win, it would fill all three needs. And looking at my running compared to other people, my assumption by being retired is I have all the time in the world to give to the people of Greenville daily. Whenever anybody has a problem, I can promptly go to where the problem is and join with the constituent towards resolving the problem. That I would not have any other obstacles standing in my way time-wise.
I understand that you said that you were very instrumental in bringing the Burn Center here.
Yeah,
Can you expound a little bit on that? Did you partner with some people? How did that happen?
I got out of college in 1976. I went to work with my father at the R.H. Flake Insurance Agency in 1977. It was an old agency. It had been started in 1926. And I'm going to say in 1978, Jimmy Carr, who was a radio station owner in town, our agency did business with the station. And he came into the agency one day and he looked at me and he said, we're going to try to get a burn center built here. Would you be interested in being on our radio sign committee? And I said, yes. So I, to a small degree, raised money to get the center built.
Mm-hmm.
My late Uncle Howard Dyer, who was a state senator,
Mm-hmm.
he went on the top end, getting the state legislature to agree with him to have the burn center built in Greenville. So my Uncle Howard, he got from the state $750,000. So it all came together, and Greenville benefited greatly from that reputation-wise because this was becoming known as a medical center.
I remember, I'm from Indianola. I don't mean to cut you off, but there was a woman named Sarah Hall. She was a minister and she was a radio personality as well. She would bring in quartet groups and they would sing and they would raise money for the Burn Center. And that's one thing that stuck out in my mind because the Burn Center meant so much to the people in Sunflower County. And we were so grateful for the Burn Center. And when you said that, it brought back a lot of memories as a little girl. And to say that you had a hand in that speaks volumes. And another thing that you said, you would like to see the media. You said you would like to see the media pretty much do like this campaign where they educate or re-educate the community, the general population about the history of the place. And I'm a big buff for history. I'm a history buff, right? And during spring break, I would take my children to the museums downtown, so that they can see where Greenville used to be and how it was thriving and things like that. And I think about tourism a lot. If you compare downtown Greenville right now to downtown Cleveland, it's apples and oranges. And I would love personally to see, with the federal building being completed, the rest of that way just nice. Where do you see us moving forward as it relates to tourism? Because we're known for the blues, we're known for a lot of things. Um, what did it used to be? What was it when it came to tourism? Because Greenville is mentioned in movies. Greenville, Mississippi.
Yeah, tourism. I don't think anything's different now than what it's been. Uh, I know we've got a loss within the community right now because the Blues Bar is closed. And
Which is the entertainment district.
a few years ago, I was on Main Street and I was looking at a historical marker, and this foreigner, he came over to me
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "I've come to Greenville to hear the blues." And I said, "I hate to tell you, but because you're in town on a weekday, you're not going to be able to hear it because the Blues Bar only has musicians on weekends." So we haven't emphasized blues music, which is our root music here. That it was spoken tonight about what they've done in Clarksville. No, we've never capitalized on
In the
that.
past, okay.
Now, of course, today, and I had the urge to stop in because I've got a friend who runs the mixing board at Bass,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me whenever the Viking tourists are in town,
Mm-hmm.
you just come on up there. You can sit with me because I said, "Can somebody from the public come in there?" And he said, "Yeah, you come on upstairs and just sit with me." I did want to go watch it, but of course, Wesley Smith, who runs the Convention and Visitors Bureau,
Mm-hmm.
have the numbers as to what's happened with tourism over time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just wonderful, the fact that the passenger boats are stopping here. Um, I don't quite know what else. I assume people, they're still coming to town to look at the Indian mounds, which is one of the 5 largest exhibits of Indian mounds in the country.
Wow.
Um, and Benji, you've been into the Greenville History Museum. Benji Nelkin did a wonderful job with that museum. Of course, looking at the Delta Hot Tamale Festival, I'm sorry we weren't able to retain our crown this year, but second place ain't bad.
Right.
So, anyway, I don't quite know what else to say about
Well,
it.
you spoke on a lot when it comes to tourism.
Oh, Marquita, who works out at the Welcome Center, I was out there the other day um, trying to recycle cans,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, nobody was there to take them. But I said, "How many tourists do you have coming through here today?" She said, "About 70." So, and, now looking at me, this is one advantage I've got too of being candidate for city council.
Mm-hmm.
These children and their mother walked in to the Welcome Center when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And since I saw children, I'd looked up the stairway and seen Kermit the Frog.
Mm-hmm.
So Marquita said, "We got a museum upstairs." And with that, I looked at him and I said, "Let me tell you why Kermit the Frog was named Kermit. It's because Jim Henson was born in Greenville and he used to play on the banks of Deer Creek with his friend Kermit. So they were on their way back home to Alabama."
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's one thing where I didn't hear from the rest of the people tonight, and I wish the audience had been able to have participated too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mr. Gannon, you're right. Let me add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
That I I know what it took to make this town great when it was great,
Mm-hmm.
and
Are you willing to work with the other councilmen if you're elected? Are you willing to work with the other councilmen and implement some of these things that you talked about earlier tonight? You pulled out figures and facts, and you talked about a lot of different things. But as a whole, do you plan, if elected, to work along with the rest of those councilmen to make Greenville better?
yes, I look upon a councilman's job as maintenance work. It may be boring. You got streets, you got water, you got a fire department, you got a police department.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crux of what makes up city government.
Mm-hmm.
Me having all time available
Mm-hmm.
towards helping the people of this town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get into what I used to do. They
Mm-hmm.
were talking about things tonight, which I thought was general maintenance work.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm a visionary
Okay.
that, yeah, the Burn Center was just a dream years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't lead the effort, but I was a dedicated member of that radiothon committee
Mm-hmm.
where uh, I was on the radiothon committee because Jimmy Carr was a radio man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I ended up doing was, me being in my 20s back then,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, we've got a convention center and it's not having the right kind of activities out there. I was thinking big city.
Mm-hmm.
And I pitched the idea to the group of, we need to have a concert to raise money for the Burn Center. And it would be held at the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, there was this country music artist named Johnny Paycheck, who was very popular. He had released that song, "Take This Job and Shove It."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, in looking at the music that was so hot back then,
Mm-hmm.
I pitched the idea to him of, let's try to get Johnny Paycheck to come to Greenville. Well, the Pilot Club took an interest in it, where they went out and started selling tickets for it.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny Paycheck came to Greenville. Um, and I brought some other national touring musicians to town over time. Back in the late 80s, the spirit of this community had declined so because we had started to lose our major industry.
Which was?
Well, let's see, back then, oh, was it Rail Tech? They made the boxes that went on telephone poles to house the equipment. We lost Schwinn. We lost Comet Rice. Uh, we lost Boeing.
As an airplane?
Yeah, they were here for about 2 years.
Wow.
They didn't get the government contract that they needed this big.
Wow.
And we lost Mebane. They made the packaging for the drug company Johnson and Johnson. They left. So the people of Greenville, they had changed their attitude from saying Greenville is just such a great place. Their attitude changed to what's happened to Greenville.
Wow.
Oh, it's to taking on a defeatist attitude. And I thought, well, I'm going to lead the effort to stop this. So I called for a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce. I gathered 18 civic organizations. And I said, I've got an idea for our having an annual celebration in April of each year, the month that the levee broke. We'll call it Levee Break. It will be the Greenville Spirit and Heritage Celebration. We'll have a variety of activities throughout a 2-week period, of which I modeled that after the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, because they would use 2 weeks. And I thought, well, that will defeat the problem of, oh, I couldn't be at the Levee Break event because I was out of town on that day.
So everybody had an opportunity to
2
participate.
weeks. There was no excuse for a Greenvillian to attend something, be it a literary reading
Wow.
by Greenville's literary figures who were still living back then, be it a downtown walking art display with the paintings of local artists and the windows. We had a prayer for Greenville written by Reverend Noonan of the Presbyterian Church, a beautiful prayer that would be at the opening ceremony every year. That's when it'd be read. We had all the local musicians playing down in Shelvin Park, which led to my getting what had been the water fountain down there.
Okay.
Turned into a bandstand. Now, I talked to a former city engineer. I said, all right, I got an idea, Mr. Finger. Either have it converted into a bandstand or get the fountain going again. He said, don't try to raise money to get that fountain going again. That people would always throw boxes of detergent in the water and it would burn out the motor. It was a beautiful fountain with the colored lights coming up at night. So with that, I got with the director of the Parks Department and I had some levee break celebration money that I contributed to the cause. And so with that, we ended up spending $900.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
That's all right. You got something to say too. It's for $900 we got a bandstand built. And I guess you can shut that door. But then Ed Shaw, who was on the city council,
Uh-huh. He took an interest in it and
And he had the city council spend $25,000 to get a portable covering for it whenever there was a special event. It's beautiful horseshoe shape that would go over it. But a high wind came up for the 4th of July celebration one year and bent. Then just to close on that bandstand, then the new park director, he said, Jack, I'm gonna fix the problem permanently. I'm gonna get a permanent roof put over it.
Oh wow.
I said, well, how much is it gonna cost? And he said $80,000. And I said, it didn't cost but $900 to get the slab poured.
Well,
But
so
anyway, I was thinking back then,
yes.
that's how government operates. It was led by my cousin.
Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up because you've had a hand in a lot of stuff that happened around here. Trop Casino, Burn Center. And I just want you to.
Baseball team too.
Oh, wow.
So,
Hold on. People. Let's tell the people why they think they should vote for you. Tell the people why.
Finish on that bandstand bit. I told them back then, I said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. That the Trop Casino had told them, we'll make improvements to Shelburne Park.
Sis, call me.
If you would let us turn rolling. If you would let us turn Shelburne Park into a parking lot, and I was saying, these casinos, they don't need any more parking lots down here. Nobody's ever gonna use that parking lot. Nobody ever used the parking lot. You can't even gain access to the parking lot anymore.
Not anymore.
Neighbors down there,
Not anymore.
they told me, I went and talked to them. I said, I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on. I remember I talked to a couple of guys, and they said, they, they said, this is our neighborhood. This is our park. We come down here daily and just like to lay on the embankment.
Look at the
And
water.
it brings us peace. I said, well, they're gonna tear it up. Horrible mistake. It was that old adage of the value of American Express card priceless. That park was priceless.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that was city government.
So we got to wrap this up. Tell us why the people should vote for you.
I've got experience. I've got energy. I've got love in my heart for this community. and I've got all the time in the day to give to the people of Greenville.
Thank you.
Sure.
The Mike Magazine. Facebook is okay. However, YouTube is way better. Go follow my mom on YouTube.
That's right.
Like, subscribe, get notified. Timothy Buckner here. A voice behind the mic.
And remember,